It's a kind of a family. Wherever I roam, a Fenway home, that's where I long to be. I'm a member of a Red Sox nation. It's a kind of insanity. Yeah, I live and die with Red Sox pride for eternity. I fake a smile November until opening day. Suffering baseball withdrawal around the clock. When April comes, hey, meet me down on Yankee Way. That's when Red Sox Nation starts to rock. I'm a member of the Red Sox Nation.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 62 of the Avid Boston Podcast, presented by AVIDBOSTON.com. For those of you staying up late watching on Periscope, you can find the podcast, as always, within 30 minutes of the conclusion of this broadcast on SoundCloud. You can find it on iTunes by your AM commute. You can find it on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Player FM, and also at the top of the Periscope window, you can find the link, which will take you directly to the podcast section of AvidBoston.com, and you can get both the SoundCloud and iTunes links directly from there. So plenty of ways to find us. Red Sox wrapped up another 3-game series, this time with the Texas Rangers, and for the third series in a row, there's a sweep. So the broom store might be running out of brooms at this point. We have the Toronto Blue Jays on deck. So if you're not familiar with me, I am Terry Cushman, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Dave Kwiatkowski. Dave, how about that? 3 in a row.
Hey, I'm happy about it. Just another sweep in July, getting used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we've been pretty solid since early June anyway, and this month's looking no different. It's hard to assess what you really need, at the trade deadline when you're playing this well.
Yeah, it's tough. When, we had our first game, you had Erod, coming off a couple shaky starts, and he throws a great game, and we, pitch a combined shutout to win. And then Tuesday, we give up a few runs, bullpen and stuff, but we put up 8. So that's always nice. And you win 8-4, you beat up on a bad pitcher in Gallardo over there. And then tonight, you had Chris Sale, another stellar start, 7 innings, 12 strikeouts, 1 walk, 110 pitches, threw 98 on the last pitch of the night to gun somebody out. So all in all, a nice sweep. And like you said, it's hard to notice what you need. But, I guess it's just a necessity of just extra things, an extra bullpen arm in case someone sucks, and an extra bat off the bench, because clearly people get injured like Vasquez, and that's going to happen.
Absolutely. And, we're living right when we essentially had a bullpen day, game 2, and played very well and got the win.
Yeah, we played great. And we had Jalen Beeks come back up, who got rocked in his major league debut. And he pitched okay, a little jitters, but looked much better. And you had Velasquez, who gave up one of the longest home runs ever at Fenway that I've seen. The Odor's 447 feet. And if you told me it went further, I would have believed you. And he was fine after that. Gave us 3 good innings, and Beeks gave us a couple. And to be able to go out there and just throw, whatever's left in the kitchen sink at the Rangers to win is just a huge confidence booster to the team.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe how Odor can come in here in one series and crush one like that. And we've had JD Martinez a full year, who hits to that part of the ballpark, and he's hit the most home runs of anyone, but not quite that far. So,
no, he got a hold of one. But to be fair, if JD Martinez got to go up against an 88-mile-an-hour fastball that didn't move, I'm sure he would take it for a ride.
True. Yeah, excellent point. Also joining us, as he often does and as he often will in the future, Austin Hartsfield. You can find him on Twitter at Cap Hartsfield, and he is also one half of the Double Coverage podcast, which you can find Dave appearing on. Chris Saunders, I just noticed that he's a frequent guest of ours, especially when the Yankees are in. So good shows coming from the Double Coverage. That could be found on iTunes, so be sure to look for it there. Austin, how are you?
I'm good. The intro threw me off. I was like, I'm used to the same intro.
Oh yeah, I think I've been off since I started. My normal flow just isn't there, but I got as much in there as I got as much in there as I could for you. Yeah. So all right, guys, let's just get into it. The one thing that it's almost impressive and frustrating at the same time is how insanely inefficient Eduardo Rodriguez can be, but still gives up minimal runs in the process when he just rings that pitch count up to 70 or 80 something before the end of the fourth inning.
Drives me nuts. It's every start, and I hope no one expects him to figure it out this year, because it's not going to happen. That's an off-season thing that you work on in the beginning of the year thing. What you get now is what you're going to get now from E-Rod, like it's been his whole career, is that he gets an E-Rod quality start, which is anywhere from 5 and 5 2/3 inning. He never gets to 6. He rarely gets to 7. He'll never go 8 or 9. So that's what he's going to get. But if he can give you what he gave the other night, which was 5 1/3 or 5 2/3, 1,000 pitches, but no runs, that's all that really matters. He keeps the damage minimum. His ERA, I believe, is in the 3.7s now, probably after that start. Just thinking off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So, as a 4th and 5th option to the team, which is what he is, at the end of the day, he is your fourth starter. So he's giving you a chance to win every night, which is what you need. But it is very frustrating to watch. You just want him to. The amount I want a stat, and Austin and I talk about this all the time during games, during his starts. I want a stat for how many times he goes 0-2 and then it's 3-2 on a hitter, because I feel like it happens every time.
Well, that makes.
He thinks that he has 3 waste pitches, and he doesn't.
Yeah, he does think that.
Just get people out.
Right, and that's probably what drives it up, because if you're, if you are up 2-0, then you tack on 3, probably plus some foul balls or whatnot. You're having a lot of 7, 8 pitch at bats, and that obviously can drive it up. The one thing, though, that is concerning to me about it is how sustainable is that? Because if he's going anywhere from 105 to 115 pitches consistently, with 5 full innings anyway, I mean, what's that going to look like come mid to late August?
Oh, you'll need him to skip a start here and there, and I think Cora does a good job with him, getting him out early enough. You don't see him going 120. Something crazy like that. You had Farrell that really let him go out there because he was doing well with the damage-wise. You know what I mean? Like, his ERA was never 5 or 6. So I think he does a good job with that, which is nice. But he's going to need to skip a start, or, you're not going to lean on him in the playoffs, which is fine. You're not going to expect him to go 7 innings in the playoffs or anything like that. So it's not going to look pretty, but if he continues what he's doing, you get 5 innings from him, you switch to the bullpen, and I'm okay with it. And his ERA is a 3.62 currently, and he's 11-3. So not the worst thing. He's at 99 innings pitched, which is his career high was last year at 137, and he finished up the year with a 3.97. Oh no, he didn't. I lied to everyone at home. He finished up with a ERA of 4.19 last year. So,
yeah, and he wasn't healthy last year, obviously, either. And that's another thing that drives me nuts is you still have people on social media comparing his health to like Clay Buchholz, and they're just waiting for an injury to happen. But I don't think that's fair, because the last couple of years it's been the result of one injury that wasn't dealt with appropriately from the very outset. So yeah, it's just one injury that dragged on, and now it has been taken care of. He's been very healthy all year long, and if he wasn't, you wouldn't see the type of grind, game in and game out from him. And so, I think people need to lay off in that regard. But But it would be nice to see him somewhat figure it out. You know, you say it's an off-season thing, and you could very well be right with that. But, you know, if you could just find a middle ground just to kind of level things out a bit. Because you don't want to be taxing your bullpen, you know, too often, because we don't know what's going on with David Price just yet. And Porcello has pitched very well the last 4 or 5 starts, but he did have a stretch before. He started the season off very good, and then kind of in the middle somewhere, you know, he had a 4 or 5 game stretch where he was really, really battling each start. So, you know, if he were to hit a stretch like that, you know, that's another start that could be taxing on the bullpen, and I don't know. So
yeah, but that's the thing with Erod though. Like, he has 99 innings pitched, you said, Dave?
Yep.
But that's a lot of pitches for him because he always finds a way to a 3-2 count.
Yep.
Always. And he always
pitches at the start.
Yeah. He always finds his way to 110 pitches somehow too. Always like around that number. So it's becoming a lot of pitches, but he doesn't go a lot of innings.
Yeah. And I really like what Porcello's done this year, honestly. He's got a 3.58 ERA currently, 11-3 as well. And he's got 118 innings pitched so far. But even with that little bit of a slump, and every single one of our pitchers is going through that slump this year, and it's nice to see them all turn it around, minus David Price. Well, all right, David Price he just can't pitch big games, but that's just how it is. But Sale had a not-so-Sale start to the year, where he was a little bit off. They changed his pitching mechanics a little bit. You know, the way he starts his wind-up, he's been money since then. Porcello started out really strong, struggled for like 3 or 4 starts, been great since. Erod went through a little bit of a rush pass the last like 2 or 3 games before this, and now he's back to being pretty good. And Price had the carpal tunnel thing. From carpal tunnel to the Yankees, he was unreal. He was like 6 innings, complete game, 7-6, 7-6, and he had to blow up against the Yankees. But it's just good to kind of see that they have hit some adversity this year, but it seems like everyone's responded. Price, we've yet to see it because he got blown up by the Yankees with no excuse, no carpal tunnel, no nothing. And then he came out and pitched awful against the Royals, who suck. So, you know, what exactly you're going to get out of Price, we don't know. But I like how the adversity is coming along, and everyone seems to be turning it around when they face it.
Yeah, Price is basically in, a second slump, it seems like, so he's going to have to dig out of that again. And with Porcello, you make a good point. You know, you're not really worried about him, and I guess I'm not really either, but I guess I'm at the point of his career where he's been around quite a while. This is, I think, his 10th year, and he's just one of those guys that, yeah, it's nice to see him do this, but he has to start doing it in October at this point. Like,
so does everybody. So does Sale even.
Yeah.
I just will do it as long as he doesn't play Houston, which is just his Achilles heel for some reason. But I think he can get it done. He can clearly get it done against the Yankees. I think he'll be okay against Cleveland, Seattle, whoever else would be that wild card team. I think he can do it. This whole staff, though, including Kimbrel. You have Kimbrel in the bullpen, who also needs to kind of show, like, listen, I'm going to come in the ninth, up 1 in, a game 3, a game 2, a game 1 of a series, and shut it down.
Right. Absolutely. And the one thing about Sale, though, is I kind of give him a pass because I think last October was his first start, in a postseason game. So
yeah, I give him a pass.
Not a lot of experience, but at the same time, he does have some concerning numbers in late August and September. So that definitely needs to be addressed this year. And he took that different approach, a much more relaxed approach in spring training, where he wasn't 98 on the gun immediately, and he kind of took his time to get into that groove. And then, as you said, he adjusted his mechanics a little bit, which has been really apparent the last 4 or 5 starts. And then tonight, I mean, his walks were getting up there for a little while, and tonight only 1 walk, and I think they've been down overall.
Yeah, his last 5 starts, he has less than 1.
Yeah, he's 1 or none for a while now.
So it's clearly, a different Sale, compared to earlier in the year, and maybe you can even say he's basically at the point he was last season at his peak. So it just kind of remains to be seen how long that will be sustainable. But But, you know, they have to do it. I mean, we